When you make the conscious decision to pick up a paintball gun and head out into the world of tournament paintball in search of adventure, what you're really seeking is a story. The fun and the challenge, the trials and the accolades, those all fade. Even if you're successful, the trophies will sit there and collect dust. The prize money will get spent. But what remains are the moments, the memories, a powerful story. Sunday has a special place in paintball. What happens on Sunday defines our sport. It's where our history gets written and where heroes are made. It's where all the hard work, the welts, and the time spent come together to create victory or defeat. What happens on Sunday is why people will remember your name. That's the story you're about to watch. Not just the story of one team or one player, but the story of a year. 1 year in the Pro Division in the National X-Ball League, the NXL. 5 tournaments, 20 teams fighting over 3 days until one remains, raising a trophy on Sunday. This is the story of 5 Sundays. Texas has some of the wildest weather in the world, and every time you go there, you pack for every occasion, as you're never sure what you're going to get. This year was no different, as the days leading to the NXL Texas Open saw rain and wind, and after a long downpour, the field devolved into a mud bog. Players started calling it Mudfest 2018. Wildcard round saw Los Angeles Infamous take on Tampa Bay Damage, and Baltimore Revo against Scottsdale Elevation. Tampa Bay Damage ran into trouble on day 1 of the prelims, losing to both Impact and upstart rookies Elevation, which meant that they needed to win both of their games on Saturday to have a chance to move on, which they did. They squeaked in at 2-2 and were matched up with a tough Infamous lineup in the wildcard game, led by the attack of the injured veteran Thomas Taylor, who despite a broken finger and a deep gash in his knee, was on fire during the first 2 days. After dropping their first prelim game to the Russian Legion, Infamous went on to win 3 in a row to push them on into Sunday.
Yeah, Thomas Taylor, man, there's just all fighting that guy. Every time, like you keep saying, you got to drag him off the field. He's coming to play, after in between points, he's limping around, trying to do what he can to get back and forth, but as soon as that buzzer goes off, he's right back into pure Thomas Taylor form, giving it all he's got every single time.
In the first point of their wild card match, Infamous and Damage locked into gunfights, 5-on-5, for 3.5 minutes, until Damage finally picked off Callie Rudolph. But Thomas Taylor had been battling Jacob Edwards in the Snake the whole point, and made his shot to even up the count. But the aggression of Tim Montresor, Matt Derula, and Chad Bougere gave Damage the first point. In the second point, Thomas Taylor put on a bounce shot clinic, and a tough Nate Schrader played through dislocating his shoulder, still attacking with his arm hanging out of its socket. But Infamous's depleted and injured line just didn't have enough, and though they were able to put a point on the board at the end of the game to make it 2-1, Damage eliminated them from the tournament and moved on to rematch against Impact in the quarterfinals. Scottsdale Elevation was able to get into their second Sunday appearance in their first 2 events as a pro team, setting the bar a bit higher for brand new pro teams in the future. Even without starters Hal Vanta and Mike Urena, they went 2-2 in the prelims, beating the Ironmen 7-1 and Damage 3-2. Elevation matched up with Baltimore Revo, who struggled early in the prelims. They were 1-2 heading into their last prelim game with the Russians, but they pulled out a 6-4 victory to put them into the wild card match.
A team that we expected to do well here, but had some really close games, some nail biters to get in.
Elevation went up early on Revo, but Revo scrapped back, and the game went back and forth until it was tied at 2. With under 5 minutes to play, Josh Mountain's patience paid off in the center, as he lulled Dan Zaleski into his trap and helped Elevation go up by 1. The second to last point wasn't looking good for Revo, with Elevation up bodies and pushing forward, but Max Trailer's push on the D side and Stephen O'Mara's creative moves up the center enabled Revo to come back down bodies, with under a minute to go to tie at 3.
But Revo has been scrapping harder and fighting for their wins and digging bodies out, so I don't know. It's a good matchup right here. But
I think Revo has the momentum right now, as they really had to work incredibly hard in order to get that 3rd point on the board to tie this up.
Just 38 seconds remained in the game, and it looked like it was going to overtime, until a penalty on Corey Hall and a questionable concession horn gave the winning point to Revo and knocked Elevation out, sending Revo into the quarterfinals to take on AC Dallas. Dynasty had just one problem in the prelims: Houston Heat, and that game was a low-scoring, one-point loss 2-3. They mercy rule killed Uprising and Aftershock 6-0, and took down rookies New York Extreme 5-2. So going into the quarterfinals with a record of 3-1, San Diego Dynasty was looking strong, matched up against Red Legion. It wasn't pretty. Dynasty could not find a way to get out to their spots and got destroyed at the start of points, finding it impossible to keep 5 bodies alive. The Russians were dialed in. Everything was working perfect for them. With how well they played in the prelims, Dynasty just has to shake off this result, a 0-6 mercy rule loss. Their second of the year on Sunday.
I don't think we've seen that this weekend from you guys yet.
So, 2 things in general. Thing number 1, it's really good to lose at least one match in the prelims. You start looking at the reality in a quite different way. So that's probably what Dynasty had to struggle right now with. Yeah, the same as we struggled at the first event in Vegas. We were undefeated in the prelims, and then suddenly, oh wow, yeah, you play with Revo and they lead in like 3-0. And second part is that ground is totally different over here. Believe that Dynasty wanted to play a defense slow game because of the mud, because of the rain and everything, what they were really good like 2 days before. But now ground is giving you chances to attack, be quicker than opponents think to shoot, yeah.
So Dynasty packs their bags to head home. The brilliant performance pushed the Russians into the semifinals, where they matched up against Impact. Other than a blowout win over Chicago Aftershock, Houston Heat had nothing but close one-point battles during the prelim games, all of which they won. And they did it without one of their star players, Konstantin Fedorov, who was out with an ankle injury. Their 4-0 record made them a favorite heading into the deeper rounds of the tournament, which they won here in 2017. But after the victory in Texas last season, it had been a string of disappointing finishes to close out the year, as they watched Impact steal all the glory and the series title. Just a few weeks ago, Heat was able to knock Impact off their pedestal at the first NXL Europe event, as they took a dramatic first place, 1-point victory in France, where Chad George played the role of hero again, and played it well.
Oh, and Chad George winning 2 one-on-ones to get the victory for Houston Heat, finally taking down Edmonton Impact. The curse is broken. It's been a whole year.
Chad George, twice now.
Hoist them up. Hoist the hero up.
Heat came into Texas fired up from their win overseas and ready to reassert themselves at the top of the game. But to move on, then we need to get past San Antonio X Factor, the team who knocked them out of the quarterfinals at the last event in Vegas. X Factor coasted through their first 2 games of the prelims, making easy work of the Outlaws and the ML Kings on Friday, but they stumbled on Saturday, barely beating PC Katana 4-3 and losing to Texas rivals AC Dallas 4-7. The quarterfinal match started with Heat containing the aggression of X Factor, and though Colt Roberts carried a ton of weight for X Factor in the prelims to help get them to Sunday, Sergey snuck up the center and took him out. X Factor died in their spots, and Heat went up an easy first point when coach Ryan Brand conceded. Second point, with the battle going down in the Snake, Archie Montemayor was able to blow open the D side to tie the game.
The Snake guy walked off, and there's the Archie with the Sig Selly on the buzzer, triple chest pound.
Chad George called a long crossfield shot in a 5-on-4 situation during the next point to force another concession and give Heat a 1-point lead.
Maintain that aggression over on that side, and now past the 50-yard line with Jesse Stevens, but he gets clipped out, so a little too big of a bite for Jesse Stevens. He runs into a lane.
Chad George again, the next point, makes a great shot, this time on Grayson Goff, who received a penalty which cost X Factor in a close point, as Colt Roberts was running in to hit the buzzer when the refs were trying to pull him for Grayson's penalty.
Right there, yeah, so he gets hit right on his arm right there, and that's, unfortunately for Grayson, that's where the, and the ref's pointing at it right there. That's where his shoulder pad, or his elbow pad is. The thickest part of your elbow pad is right on the impact zone, on the tip of your elbow, and it looks like that's where he took the hit. And still, Man, Chad George continues to impress this season. He keeps saving Houston Heat.
After a few more quick points, Heat was able to go up 5-1 with 5 minutes and 26 seconds left in the match. Down 4 points, X Factor attacked right into the guns of a crossed-up Houston Heat. And Colt Roberts, LJ Woodley, and Billy Bernaccia closed out strong to put up another point for X Factor. Though X Factor went out attacking until the bitter end, putting up points. They ran out of time for a comeback. Heat's solid play knocked them out of the tournament. Payback for Las Vegas.
I mean, it's Sunday, it's Championship Sunday, so you got to be out here to win. And, Wrestling Legion did it, and then we just came and did X Factor. So we'll see how it goes for the rest of the day.
Would you say that Heat's strategy on this field layout is more offensive or defensive?
It's got to be a combination of both. And, things have to go right. On Sunday, to win paintball tournaments, everything's got to work in the right direction. The stars have to align. So that's how it's going to be.
AC Dallas was a machine in the prelims, outplaying everyone they met, including X Factor, who they beat 7-4. They outscored their opponents 24-6 en route to a 4-0 record. They met Revo, who had just taken down Elevation to move on into the quarterfinals.
So taking the field though, AC Dallas taking on Revo. A scrappy win for Revo against a young and hungry Elevation in that wild card round, and Revo now trying to get back into the top 4 for the second tournament in a row.
First point, the off-the-break shots were dialed in early for AC Dallas. They closed out after dominating on the break and winning gunfights. In point 2, Revo went up bodies after a penalty on Ryan Hall, but Brad McCurley almost broke open the D side. Revo's Eddie Painter stayed alive and saved the point to tie it up.
Nice job by Eddie Painter to save that point here for Revo to get that shot on the attacking Brad McCurley, who had got 2 quick kills there.
Yeah, if he hadn't picked up Brad McCurley, that might have been trouble for Revo if McCurley was able to turn the field, but good cleanup job by Eddie Painter over there.
Then, AC Dallas switched up their game plan and sent McCurley attacking up the D side early, getting past the 50-yard line. Josh Pike tried to counter, but got taken out. Matt Jackson, like he had been all event, moved up the center to look for shots in open lanes and to watch Brad's back. AC took all the ground and worked Revo out of their spots to go up by 1 point. In the next point, AC Dallas again showed their excellent ability to shoot good lanes off the break, and then after creating an advantage, aggressively push up the field. Matt Jackson and Brad attacked with confidence, roving for shots and moves, and put another point on the board for AC. Revo was able to pull within 1 the next point, getting out to their positions with 5 alive and shooting Ryan Hall and McCurley to give themselves a 5-on-3 advantage and trap AC's 3 remaining players in their back bunkers. AC roared right back though, containing the push of Pike and getting McCurley up the field quickly. And though they didn't shoot anyone for Revo on the break, they won gunfights to force the concession. Now down by 2 points with just over 3 minutes to play, Revo pushed forward, but they weren't able to break open the AC Dallas line. The Revo's attackers, Stephen O'Mara, Josh Pike, Max Traylor, and Dan Zaleski got them this far. They didn't have consistent answers for AC Dallas in this match. Brad McCurley and Matt Jackson were constant threats in the middle and on the D side. McCurley finished the game with 11 confirmed kills. AC Dallas took their 5-0 undefeated record at the event into the semifinals, where they matched up with Houston Heat.
You're fully back now. No injury keeping you down. How are you feeling at this match in Dallas?
Phenomenal. Feel super good. Got my wife and son to be back home, watch me, so it's giving me that extra, rejuvenated energy, but definitely feeling really good out here. Team's gelling. We know the field better than anybody out here, we feel good.
Anything other than first is a loss when you're the best team in the game. And that is a tough mental landscape to inhabit, tournament after tournament. But after what they have accomplished, as long as Edmonton Impact exists in its current form, that's what's at stake. So coming off their second place finish in Europe to Heat, Impact came to Texas focused on trying to solidify their position as the best paintball team ever. Other than the 7-1 beating of Elevation Saturday afternoon, their other 3 prelim games were relatively close, including a come-from-behind victory against the team they matched up with here again in the quarterfinals, Tampa Bay Damage. The rematch started 5-on-5, but Impact was able to shoot 3 bodies, and Justin Cornell quickly moved down the D side as the rest of the bodies died for Damage, and Impact ran a perfect point, went up 1-0. In the second point, Impact shot Chad Bougier off the break, then Rainey Stanzik pushed up the center and JC on the D side. But Justin Rabikoff got shot, which evened up the count, and Keith Brown and JC followed J-Rab walking off the field. Rainey tried a desperation run-through, which almost caught Damage sleeping, but Tim Montresor and Jason Edwards stayed alive to hit the buzzer and tie up the game.
Blow battle out here. Damage and Impact, and Damage prevails. Looks like they had 2 bodies alive with Jason Edwards and Tim Montresor.
Impact again was able to shoot a body off the break, and Brandon Cornell extended up the center, causing Chad Bougier to come and get him. Then Dalton Vanderbilt made a move on the D side to shoot the attacking Tim Montresor, who drew a major penalty, which gave the point to Impact. Next point, Damage was able to shoot out Alex Goldman, but then got a minor penalty right after that, and the bodies started dropping everywhere for both teams. Jason Edwards launched and ran down Brandon Cornell to tie up the game. Impact had been running 2 lines the whole event, and now their second line was obviously struggling, having lost 2 points. Impact put the first line back in. Damage lost 2 bodies on the snake side off the break, and Impact's first squad was able to win a quick one to take the lead. Damage dominated the next point off the break. Impact lost 3 players immediately, and Damage took the point. It was all tied up with just under 6 minutes left to play. Again, Impact's mastery of their lanes on the break paid off, as they took 2 points in a row. Damage still had a chance, down 2, with a little over 2 minutes to go, but the nail in the coffin came from a 2-pack run-through from Keith Brown on the snake side, knocking out the team that he started his pro career with.
And Edmonton Impact taking down Damage, going on to the semifinals. They are going to be taking on Moscow Red Legion, and AC Dallas is going to be taking on Houston Heat, battle of the 2 Texas teams.
The next game was one of the most dramatic matches in recent memory.
20 seconds.
It started as the opposite of dramatic, as an absolute beating of Impact by the Russians. It looked exactly like what the Russians did to Dynasty in the quarterfinals. Though Impact was able to put 1 point on the board with the help of Dalton Vanderbilt, the score sat 6-1 with 9 minutes and 8 seconds left, and those 6 points for the Russians were an off-the-break shooting clinic. Impact didn't help their case, drawing numerous penalties. It looked like they were falling apart. Impact was 1 point away from a mercy rule loss and elimination from the tournament. But when they came out for the next point, something clicked. They started recklessly and relentlessly attacking. The comeback began with Dalton again, pushing on the D side. The next point, it was Rainey Stanzik and the Snake. And the next point, J-Rab and Nick Laval made their presence felt, and all of a sudden, it's 6-4.
Oh, and Rainey Stanzik just went, chirped something right at Golev.
Oh, wow.
Right in his face.
Rainey continued to be the spark plug. He put an amazing shot on the run on Malloy and the Snake and ran down Golev in the back center. But they still needed 1 more to tie. The frustration was starting to set in for the Russians, and they were starting to look tired, barely getting to the box in time to start points. They've been running with mostly the same starting 5 the whole weekend. Golev got another penalty as Russian bodies came off everywhere, and now the game was tied. With just 48 seconds left, Impact pushed up the center, but Golev countered, wanting redemption from that penalty, diving over the center bunker as chaos ensued, with Impact trying to hold off the last-second push. But when Kirill Peredny had to pause to shoot Rainey, Zach Yakimek took off and beat Kirill to the buzzer by half a second, stealing the win in one of the greatest comebacks the game has ever seen.
Impact stealing the win at the very end. Zach Yakimek, if he is clean, as the referees are checking him out right now. He's got his arms up in the sky. He's going to keep him there. Hold on. They pull him back. And we're waiting for the thumbs up. There it is, the thumbs up from the referee. And Impact, Zach Yakimek, the hero of this last point, staying alive, keeping the attack of the Russians pushing forward. Boys, my God, Edmonton Impact did it again.
Wow, that was a huge point. Major, they fell asleep major by running up that center so heavy, and there's that pimple.
Pretty much.
Right.
They needed to stagger that attack a little bit, and you can see the 1,000-yard stares here from the guys on the Russians in the pits as they just let Edmonton Impact score 6 unanswered points to take the victory.
You guys are talking shit. He's talking shit. You're dead, Knight Stanzak. They're talking shit to me on the way to the gate. You start it, I'll finish it. Let's go, Brady. Sorry. Your guy was talking shit to me on the way to the gate. He's saying, you're dead, 99 Stanzak. Well, I'm gonna come back and fire. After they started shooting me, I'm walking the gate. You're dead, Stanzak. 99 Stanzak, you're dead. Fuck you. We love that field.
That's a hell of a fucking comeback, eh? Shows you something what we're made of. Let's fucking keep doing it.
Hey, no, we want this one.
Let's fucking keep doing it, guys.
Listen, before we get ahead of ourselves,
yeah, exactly.
That was a tough one. Let's get some rest right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Reboot the fucking engines right now. Let them cool and let's reboot. Don't let any of us catch each other in the sun right now. We sit in the shade.
Yeah,
let's go.
Hey,
let's go.
Rematch, motherfuckers.
Fucking right, we got it.
I fucking love you boys.
Way to go, man. Let's go. On three. 1, 2, 3.
Hey! Let's go.
Welcome back, 2018 NXL Texas Open here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're about to jump into the semifinals of the professional division here on GoSports.com. So Todd, Houston Heat and AC Dallas, though, going to be playing this first point. Your thoughts on this matchup between these two high-ranked teams from Texas. Heat coming off that victory in France. AC hungry for a win. What do you think?
Man, this was a really tough one to pick. I was thinking about this on the way back over here. And I think AC Dallas, I think this is going to be a really close match, but I think AC Dallas is going to be able to pull it out at the end.
In the first point of the semifinals between Houston Heat and AC Dallas, both teams lost their main attackers right away, with Heat's Ronnie Dizon and AC Dallas's Brad McCurley coming off dead at the start of the first point. San Bonville then joined Ronnie walking off, and it was 4-on-3 in favor of AC. Ryan Hall got the crucial shot on Chad George to help win AC Dallas the first point after 5 minutes had come off the clock. Next point, Chad George got into the snake and got payback, putting shots on Ryan Hall and then Matt Jackson, who had secondaried up the center and was gunfighting against Sergey. Nico Hyde then ran down the D side against his former squad, bunkering out McCurley, and the game was tied. But AC Dallas lost more than just the point. The confirmed kill count leader for the whole event, Brad McCurley, came off with a hamstring injury and was done for the tournament. Without Brad pushing forward on the D side, AC Dallas had just lost the most crucial part of their offense.
Well, you never want to see that. And the playing conditions here right now are not favorable. It's really, really sticky and really dangerous out there. They tried to put mulch on the field.
How was it with the mulch?
It was not very comfortable. It was kind of like playing on Huntington Beach with the sand back in the day, but except a lot harder. There's a little bit of give, and so what it does is it builds up in front of you, makes like a little bit like a wall every time you dive into it.
Guys, by the look of things right now, Brad McCurley will most likely not be returning to this match for AC Dallas. He is grunting on the sidelines here and getting looked at by medics. He's also extremely frustrated because he just went through rehabilitation and just came back fully healed from his injury.
Ryan Hall died off the break to give Heat a one-body advantage in the next point. And after another few minutes of gunfights, AC lost a few more bodies and Heat put up an easy point. The next point was penalty-filled chaos, but Ryan Hall was able to stay alive this time for AC and tied it up 2-2 with just under 5 minutes left. After a long point, still tied at 2 with 2 minutes to go, Nico Hyde putting pressure on from the D side, Ronnie Dizon got the shot on John Jackson and Brandon Rabikoff on the snake side to win the point that ended up making the difference, forcing the concession. AC Dallas tried to attack to tie it up, but they just lost too many bodies. And Heat held on, moving into the finals.
Game of the 2018 NXL Texas Open. And Matty Marshall alongside Todd Martinez and Nick Slovack here at the Texas Motor Speedway. So the two teams that have made it into the professional final. No surprise, Edmonton Impact and Houston Heat.
Impact never gave up, and Ryan Greenspan was sitting up here with us. He said, you know what? Sometimes it just takes 1 point to swing the momentum back, and that is exactly what happened.
But let's take a look at Houston Heat. No surprise, Chad George, the MVP from the event in France with an insane performance. And also Ronnie Dizon, man, such a great story with Ronnie. He got cut by Heat a couple years ago. Back on the squad, he's the one on the snake side, 31 confirmed kills for him.
For Edmonton Impact, Rainey Stanzak putting up a 40-piece out here right now, leading the team. Zach Yakimek with 37, Justin Rabikoff with 36, Keith Brown with 31, and Justin Cornell with 28. Getting the work over there on the Doritos side. Justin Cornell, big part of that comeback, but Rainey Stanzak, the fire out there.
The battle between Houston Heat and Edmonton Impact in the finals The two titans of professional paintball, a rematch from just a few weeks ago in France, started out with Impact taking the initiative by getting Keith into the snake, but Heat took the early lead off the aggressive combo of Nico Hyde and Ronnie Dizon. But Impact answered with Justin Cornell cleaning things up in the next point to tie the game.
Let's go, Mouse! Mouse! Let's trade out our fronts! Mouse, I need you, big guy! What do you need? Yeah.
A minor penalty on San Monville and a few lost gunfights gave another point to Impact as they took a 2-1 lead. Even though Heat got off to a bad start in the next point and lost San Monville early, Nico Hyde and Ronnie Dizon stepped up to get kills and tie the game at 2.
Well, Goldman and Dalton walked off. You got Rainey and looks like Zach. Zach took one in the corner, so it's just J-Rab and Rainey, but Rainey got shot
as well, so here comes Ronnie
Dizon. Minor penalty being assessed on Zach.
That pulls out Rabakov, who's actually going to pause and ponder the moment for a second before he decides to walk off. And then Ronnie Dizon at the 50-yard line here is going to try to save this point for Houston Heat. They need it. They need one to tie. And he's going to look across the field and see his boys walking off, Impact walking off, and go, oh, looks like everyone's dead.
And both teams headed into the snake off the break. But Impact lost Zach and JC, and Rainey Stanzik received a penalty, and the point went to Heat. Dizon had another solid point with a 2-pack, shooting Rainey and Alex Goldman to give Heat a 2-point lead. Now down by 2, but feeling the confidence that comes from having 2 come from behind victories already at this event, Impact sent JC into D2 quickly, and Heat lost Ronnie Dizon and Sam, followed quickly by Sergey. Nico Hyde tried to push on the D side, but was contained by JC, who ran him down as Impact took the point. It was now a 1-point game with not much time left on the clock. Another point for Heat could clinch it.
Under 4 to go. 1-point lead for Houston Heat as these teams switch sides. So Heat's now on your left. Impact on your right, and here comes the push with Justin Cornell taking D3 pretty much off the break, and no one's able to stop him over there. Now on the field, and he is going to get, it looks like Justin Rabakov continuing to struggle a little bit here.
JC had been pushing quickly up the D side, but then bodies started dropping for both squads, and it was 3-on-3 with 2 minutes and 24 seconds to go.
Sergey gets shot.
With Sergey losing a gunfight to Alex Goldman, and Chad George is going to try to get out wide to slow the attack down. Did they pick him up?
He just took one of the arms, Chad George.
They did, so a 2-on-3 situation here in the finals.
Alex Goldman and Keith Brown pushed the snake side. Goldman got a 2-pack to blow up in the game. Nico ended up the last Heat body alive in a 2-on-1. But as Goldman briefly paused to make sure the field was clear after the chaos, Nico slipped down the field.
Now he's passed on to Impact. He's got to watch out, though, because his run might get picked up by Goldman, but Goldman just has to run and hit the buzzer. But Nico's going to run and hit the buzzer.
Oh my God, Nico Hyde pulls off a miraculous 1-on-2 situation. Goldman pauses real quick. Nico Hyde hits the afterburners. They catch Impact sleeping.
Impact kept it close by winning the next point in 30 seconds. But there was to be no dramatic comeback this time. They were shut down again with 52 seconds left, and Houston Heat reigned triumphant.
Thank you, man. Hey.
It's a new era for Houston Heat. They didn't play Mishka, and Fedorov was hurt. Nico Hyde earned the finals MVP, and Ronnie Dizon was awarded the event MVP, both emerging into stars in their own right. Heat is rebuilt, and again a strong force at the very top of our sport. Including France, this makes it 2 wins in a row, both against Impact. And Impact had no excuse this time, as their whole team was present in Texas. All they can do is go back to the drawing board and get ready for the next fight, which in the United States takes place in Atlantic City.